Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Ryan Wells. I'm the Director of Planning and Development Services here at City of Fate. And there were some questions asked about SUPs or specific use permits recently, and so I thought it would be helpful to give a brief presentation overview of SUPs to inform the discussion that's on the agenda later on about specific use permits. So I want to give a few just code citations, kind of what they're all about, and available to answer any questions that you might have on specific use permits. So specific use permit, or SUP, provides a means to develop certain uses in a manner that's compatible with adjacent property and consistent with the character of a neighborhood district. SUPs are found in Article 2, which is our procedures section of the Unified Development Ordinance. And SUP requirement is assigned to uses that are not automatically permitted in a zoning district, but are considered worthy of additional scrutiny. And that's due to their unique or potentially impactful nature. Generally, staff and decision makers will assign an SUP requirement when there's a likelihood or an anticipation of impact to neighboring properties or the community as a whole. That might be in the form of heightened traffic impacts, visual impacts, noise or lighting impacts, or assembly type uses that could result in additional demands on emergency services, or the peak nature of traffic when it comes to events that draw a large number of people in a short amount of time. The way that we determine if a use is requiring a specific use permit is found in Table 4.1-1. Article 4 is our permitted uses section of the Unified Development Ordinance. And so this table lists all of the zoning districts along the top there in abbreviated form. And then on the left side, there's a column that lists just about any type of use you could think of. And there's obviously some that are missing, but we try to be as comprehensive as possible. And if that use isn't listed, we try to find whatever serves as a compatible or a good comparison of a use. And in the table, you can see in the slide, any of the boxes that have an open box within it, that use in that zoning district requires a specific use permit. If the box is black, then that's a use permitted outright, and it doesn't require a specific use permit. That just means they don't need to ask for permission to develop or establish that use within that zoning district. And so anytime somebody comes with a proposed use, we'll look at this table to determine if it's a use permitted outright, a use permitted only with a specific use permit, which of course comes to City Council, or it's not permitted when, as you can see on this table, if the box is empty, then that use is prohibited in that zoning district. So an SUP is essentially a zoning decision being made by council, and it goes through the standard Type 3 process. It requires public notice, so when we receive an SUP application, we'll publish the notice in the newspaper. We'll send a notice out to all properties within 200 feet, and starting on September 1st, we'll actually post a sign on the property as well, as is required by recent state legislation. So there's copious amounts of public notice whenever an SUP is being proposed. We have public hearings, both at the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council. The final decision, however, is that of the City Council, and that decision is made by ordinance. That could be approval with conditions, or denial. In the Fate Unified Development Ordinance, there are a list of approval criteria that staff look at when they're evaluating and developing a recommendation for the SUP. That looks at the purpose of the zoning district and all the criteria and regulations for that district, whether the use complements or is compatible with the surrounding uses, character, and community facilities in the area, whether that traffic impacts of the proposed use are adequately mitigated, if there is a promotion of and enhancement of the quality of life for residents from the proposed use, if the proposed use is in scale with the existing neighborhood, and finally, if it mitigates any adverse impacts due to access, parking, service areas, traffic, etc. So again, the SUP is really generated by an anticipated enhanced impact to the surrounding uses, surrounding properties, and the community as a whole. This bar graph shows the specific use permits by year starting in 2016. And as you can see, with a few exceptions, Most of the SUPs proposed that have come before City Council have been approved. In 2018, 2 of the 5 were denied, and then in 2021, 1 of the 2 proposed were denied. But since 2022, all the SUPs brought to City Council have been approved. A couple recent examples of SUPs that were brought before some of you and some before you. We had a tattoo studio come in, and actually that one was approved for 1 location. That didn't work out, so they had to come back for another SUP to move to a different location. Thankfully, that all went through. There was a temporary vehicle storage and repair. Oftentimes, outdoor storage of materials, vehicles, and whatnot requires an SUP. There was a used auto dealer that requires an SUP, and then there was recently that SUP for the decorative rocks and more up on North Star Road. That was a new use that staff determined an SUP would be required. And just a side note, 8 of the last 25 SUPs on record were telecommunications towers. So that's a very common SUP requirement, and one that we see come in pretty regularly given the demand for those facilities to support our cellular coverage. Just wanted to give you a brief overview. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take questions now or save it for the discussion later in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from council now? Okay, thank you very much.
Very good.
All right, next agenda item, please.
Next will be agenda item 4, public comment. Most people have signed up to speak under agenda item 6A, which is a public hearing on the tax rate. However, we do have 2 citizens that want to speak during this portion. First being Jason Eddington, address 9500 FM 740 in Forney.
Welcome.
Thank you to Mayor Greenberg, City Council members, City Attorney. I promised Jennifer that I wasn't going to get into a lot of details, but what I wanted to say is I am running for Texas Senate District 2 office, and my fundamental goal, I'll talk on 2 points, is first, one of is Matthew 7:12, which is do unto others as they would have you do unto themselves. And one of the fundamental goals in me throughout this campaign is to be an example, to show, even though politics has become divisive and nasty, and which is kind of the catalyst for me running, is that, you know, we're all American, and we can all, even through those differences, find unity and find a place where we can all have some common ground and where we can treat each other better. So if at the end of this, win or lose, if I've made an example, or people appreciate the way I carry myself, or I bring other people to Christ, I will consider that a success. And that's kind of the bottom line, because Stone Cold says so. And then the second piece is I feel very passionately that local government, you guys live here, you know what your city needs. I always make the analogy that, you know, you wouldn't have someone come into your home, tell you how to rearrange your furniture or how to raise your kids. Local government needs to be empowered to be able to make decisions. And when you put those positions and those topics on the ballot, where citizens can vote on those topics, where they can ask specific questions, that gives you the opportunity, that empowers you to be able to make decisions at this level. So part of my reason for being here, and where I've gone around to a lot of the cities, is to partner and to build relationships with city council members. I've had the opportunity to speak with several on the phone, gone to lunch with a few of them, talked to several of the mayors, and so I think that's very important and fundamental of that role. So I hope that you feel free throughout this to contact me, call me if you have any questions. I feel very passionately, budget season, roads, things that you are challenged with, muds, whatever that is, where you need to have the ability to make those decisions, that we empower you, the state empowers you, you know, to do that. So I look forward to being able to talk and work with you guys, and feel free to reach out. But I just want to be able to formally introduce myself and say that I'm just lucky to kind of be a part of this, and happy to get to know you guys and work throughout the process.
Thank you, Mr. Eddington.
And next we have Chris Blue, address 509 McDonald Way.
Good evening and welcome.
Hello,
Chris Blue, 509 McDonald Way. It'll be real brief. I was alarmed last week by all the comments and fighting going back and forth online, and I think we can do better. I think we can do better than that. It's embarrassing for members of council to be arguing back and forth online. That's all I had to say about that. The other two quick things. One, we should have a trunk and treat here at the City Hall. It's on a Friday night. You have a circle. Everybody could pull their cars in, have their, that's that. And then it's the chief's birthday today.
Thank you, Ms. Blue.
There are no others that have signed up to speak during this portion of the meeting. The rest are for agenda item 6A.
Okay, so what is our next agenda item, please?
Next will be item number 5, consent agenda.
Okay, go
I
ahead,
make a
Mr.
motion
Hooper.
we pass the consent agenda.
Okay, do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Vote, please. Motion to pass the consent agenda passes 7-0. Thank you. Next agenda item, please.
Next will be agenda item 6A, conduct a public hearing on the 2025 tax year proposed property tax rate for the city of Fayette, Texas.
Okay, so we will open up the public hearing for the 2025 tax rate, proposed property tax rate for the city of Fayette, Texas at 6:19 p.m. And how many people did you say we had ready to speak?
We have 2 people signed up to speak, and then we have 2 people that are opposed to a tax increase that do not want to speak but want their opposition on record.
Okay,
Okay, so first will be Lauren Megacy, address 111 Mustang Drive.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sitting up there, a lot of times this is your first budget that you guys have gone through. And if you really look at that, it's tough. It's hard to make a decision on what's going to impact a citizen and what doesn't impact a citizen. Trying to make the decisions, what's right for the city, what's right for the citizens. It's tough. It's hard sitting up there. But you guys, I want to commend you. I always say that I will hold you guys accountable for what you do, but I'll also give you guys praise when you guys do the right thing. Looking at your guys' tax rate that you got here is a good thing. It's voter-approved tax rate, so the voters had an opportunity to make an educated guess on what they wanted to do. They said, yes, we want to pass that. That's in your guys' budget. You got no control over that. That's what the citizens wanted. But you guys did have control over what you do on top of that, and you guys kept it right at where it's supposed to be. So I want to commend you guys all on that. I know it was hard. I know there was a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration, but I think you guys did a good job on the budget. I just want to commend you guys on it.
thank you, Mr. Megacy.
Next will be Ryan Strobel, address 231 High Edge.
Hey, good evening, Council and Mayor. Ryan Strobel, 231 High Edge. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak again tonight and for your continued attention. As you may recall, I addressed City Council last week regarding the proposed operational budget for the Parks Department. My goal right now is just to ensure that I drive that point home and stand by what I said. As I mentioned, the proposed increase of about 2% over last year's allocation feels modest, especially considering our shared excitement around the development of Fayette Station. While we look forward to bringing this unique project to life, we remain constrained in our ability to maintain the amenities we already have. I would also like to reiterate that my position comes with having all parks in mind and not just that of the anticipated Fayette Station. The usability and upkeep of our existing parks and amenities remain a frequent topic of conversation in our community. These spaces are a source of pride for our residents, and they deserve to be enjoyed to their fullest capacity. As you continue your deliberations, whether here in session or otherwise, I urge you to keep this allocation front and center. Equally, I will continue to advocate for this specific topic with the hope that every detail is considered thoughtfully and passionately. Thank you all for your time and your service.
Thank you, Mr. Strobel.
Those are the only 2 that have signed up to speak. The 2 that are in opposition of increased taxes are Mike Laborde and Monica Laborde, 209 Vernon Drive. Did not wish to speak, just wanted that on the record.
Okay, thank you. So seeing as there are no more individuals wishing to speak during the public hearing portion, we will close this section of the meeting at 6:22 p.m. The public hearing is now closed. What's our next agenda item, please?
Agenda item 6B, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action regarding the fiscal year 2025-2026 proposed budget.
Okay, Mr. Kovacs.
Yes, sir, I have a brief presentation. Okay. Proposed budget. Here we are, August 18th. We're in the pipeline for the budget approval. You will notice that we pulled some of the agenda items off the budget, or off the council meeting tonight. This is primarily for moving to the voter approval rate. So we're proposing to move to the voter approval rate from the de minimis rate. And so what is the voter approval rate? Because it's super confusing. It's super confusing. Even the staff are like, what does this mean? So it's basically, it's an inflationary maintenance and operation 3.5% effective tax increase for the average, using the average property with the average value increase. And so the nomenclature, so it's basically like an inflationary cost increase for people that had a normal increase in their appraisal. And there's a very complicated formula that does that. So the legislature considers the voters have approved of this level of taxation. So you don't have to go to an election or have a petition process. It's kind of the city councils can do this if they want to. So that's the voter approval rate. The Senate actually is, in the former special session, they actually voted to knock that down for large cities, which they define as over 75,000. They voted to knock it down to 2.5%, so kind of knock the inflation a bit. So there's an M&O rate, of course, as the tax rate has two pieces. There's a maintenance and operations, M&O. It pays for operations and services. And then there's a debt service rate for bond payments. And so it's higher than the no new revenue rate, essentially. So talking about kind of slowing down the budget process, we would move to September. I've got a slide that talks about this, but September 8th for some additional hearings and discussion, and then September 15th for budget adoption. So there's some benefits to kind of slowing our process down a little bit. The budget discussions are still ongoing, lots of questions, lots of active movement, and it will help us. We'll talk a little bit later on. It kind of helps us to kind of get this settled at some point. And of course, the new laws that have gone into effect are kind of creating this level of conflict. That creates a hurried pace, and that could lead to errors as we get ourselves getting closer to the end. And then grappling big issues. It's kind of like the streets and the long-term needs of the street funding. That's probably going to require some longer and deeper community dialogue, so we can really dive into that. We have phase 2 of the road replacement plan, or the street replacement plan. We are working on phase 2. And phase 1 was the theoretical version, where we showed the actual kind of death date of all the different streets if things went as predicted. But phase 2 is an actual financial plan to analyze it and put real world numbers to it. So we're actually working on that right now. So we think we can do that next year as far as getting the citizens up to speed and talking about what that means and how we want to tackle that. The tax rate overview. Okay, so the no new revenue rate, which is the maintenance and operation plus the interest and sinking or the debt, is 28 cents. The voter approval rate is 29.1 cents, and the de minimis rate 29.9. And so the new rate 29.1 and change. That is still a 3.1 cent increase from the current year, and the impact is now dropped. So we're about $175, $176, let's say, on the average homesteaded property, or $15 a month in difference in taxes. The difference between the no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate is $2 a month. So we're down to $2.
And before we continue, we go back to that side. I want to make sure we all understand 13 of those dollars per month, given this, the average homesteaded home, is because of the Department of Public Safety bond that passed last November. 68% approval. That's where 13 of that is coming from. So the other $2 to make the 15 is this rate here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So just some history, we had some budget adjustments by city council. So some good news, we had 144,000 in savings just due to the health insurance decrease. Thank you, Lee, again, and the broker for working on that. And then we had the timing of the Texas Municipal Retirement System things in there that it's actually going to be January instead of October, so that gave us some savings. Then we had some council directed use last week, Monday. So you decided to send $20,000 to community engagement, $26,000 to the retiree COLA for folks that have already retired and get a City of Fate retiree check from TMRS. And then $69,000 we reallocated from lobbying to parks maintenance. And I did talk to the lobby team and we wished them well, and they won't be charging us. We had a 90-day clause. They won't be charging us. They'll only charge us 1 month. So that was nice of them. So we're out of that business. But we reallocated the money to parks maintenance. So I know we had some comments about parks, and Steve has put together a list, him and Steven, on what they would use that money for best to get biggest impact as far as parks maintenance. And then $96,000, reducing the property tax revenue. And so what we're proposing tonight is an additional $184,000 cut from the road maintenance transfers. And that would bring our cuts to $280,000, and this achieves the voter approval rate, which we haven't used actually since the voter approval rate came out. So this will be our first time. So $184,000 from road maintenance. So why would we do that? Really, we're looking for, at this point in the budget process, we really need a 6-figure cut in order to kind of get to some of these, rather than kind of going line by line in each different unit. Road maintenance, also, we've asked, I feel like I caused the problem with this whole budget almost, because if you look at the budget, we basically figured out how to make the budget work with all the different demands, DPS and everything else. There's some departments that didn't go up a lot. Parks was one of them. But essentially, we put the budget together. We used the de minimis rate to make progress on street maintenance, but it was probably a bridge too far. So we asked for a 33% increase of a major line item. If we drop it to 1.816, which is what we need to get to the voter approval rate, it's still a 17% increase in road maintenance funding, which is significant. And we plan, of course, then we've got surplus funds. We could transfer surplus funds in and really do some more. So we want to talk about some alternatives, perhaps, to that, if y'all don't like that, but that's our recommendation. So we have some optional action tonight. You don't have to make any movement tonight if you wish to. You can, of course. You can direct some changes to the budget and continue to send questions to city management. And then as we wrap, we'll go back some slides if we need to here, but the budget calendar, September 8th, we'll redo our public hearings on the budget and the tax rate, and then if we can direct any financial changes, please, if those can be the final day that the budget moves, if it stops moving, then on the 15th, that gives us a week to put together, well, actually less than a week because of the new timelines. We've got the new open meetings timelines that the state has given us, so we have to start way backing some of these packets. So we've got a couple days that we're gonna have to launch packet preparations ahead of the typical schedule. So Vicky's already working with Samantha on that. But September 15th, we would adopt the budget and the tax rate, and then we would be done and move to implementation. We're also planning on September 8th. I've got a request for discussion of where to put surplus funds, and so we could do that on the 8th as well. And then on the 15th, we can go ahead and bring a budget amendment that would actually move money to those various fund groups. So that's a lot, but lots of stuff on the budget. Really, I kind of wanted to ask for your focus on, is this a good cut? We think it is. It's probably the easiest. It doesn't break different programs in the different units. You don't have to cobble together different things, but of course, y'all make the final decision, so whatever you'd like to do. That's my budget presentation for this evening.
Okay, well, thank you for going through this and giving this recommendation on this. I think it's a big move to be at the voter approval rate, so that's exciting for Fate. So thank you for putting together this presentation. At that, I'll open it up to the council for discussion on this. Mr. Harper?
Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and make a motion that we reduce the road maintenance fee by $184,000 to meet the voter-approved rate.
Okay, there has been a motion brought before us. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Kelly seconds. All right, so discussion on this motion to cut the, just to make sure we're clear, to cut the 184,000 from road maintenance, one fund that would get us back to, or that would get us down to the voter approval rate. Any discussion?
I just wanted to make sure that everyone's clear. We're reducing the amount budgeted from 2 million by 184,000. Okay.
It is still a
Miss-
large
It's
increase.
still a large
It's a
increase, but
17% increase in road
But
maintenance.
it's about half of.
Right, we're, yes.
Okay, hold on one second. Ms. Huffman, I saw your light come on earlier. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, so I've been trying to focus on the importance of planning for our roads and looking long-term, and so it was interesting that that's one of the cuts coming up. So I'm trying to wrap my mind around why I mean, I like it. I'm all for cuts where we can do it, and if you're comfortable with that number, then I think I have to trust you. But overall, I think it's important for us to keep the roads in mind as we plan for our expenses.
Okay, Mr. Hatley.
Oh, I was going to say, we still have 500,000 that was allocated last year to front-load the road maintenance. So we have that in reserve that I think we can start spending as of, or transfer to the general fund roughly within, would you say, Michael, was it January? So it wouldn't affect the balance of the general fund, is that correct? If we needed it.
You would, well, we would bring a budget amendment next meeting and
Okay.
let y'all decide where you want to send surplus 25, fiscal year 25
Okay,
funds.
I was going to say that's an insurance policy, though.
It would be a nice boost to road maintenance. We could do.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not saying add to it now, but I'm just saying it's already been allocated as of last year.
Well, technically, all funds lapse at the end of the fiscal year.
Okay,
So it's part of the money itself is part of the undesignated general fund balance, but it no longer has a label on it, if that makes sense.
okay.
Mr. Manival.
All right. There were a couple of things mentioned last week that there seemed to be general agreement on uses of surplus for a couple of things. And one was the utility fund loan.
Go ahead.
Okay. The utility fund loan, which was made several years ago, and that's something that we could possibly just knock out with a surplus. And it also is a line in the budget every year. So it's small. It's 8308 is part of the transfers out of the general fund. We're paying ourselves back slowly. There's some whispering, what's up?
Well, I'm just making sure that we're
So
all.
you could, yes, you could cut that $8,000 expense.
Okay,
If you did a transfer next, let's say, in September.
yeah. But if we just use surplus to just eliminate it, I think,
Sure. Yeah, and we'll have a specific agenda item just to talk about surplus on
okay.
September 8th.
okay.
But you could,
Well,
but it is related, there is a relation there, because if you plan to do that, and everybody seems to be
Okay.
going that way, you could eliminate that $8,000 expense or send it
Okay.
somewhere
I
else.
meant, one reason I mention it, because it actually does have a small amount on the budget, so.
8,300. I think just so we're all clear too, I think his question is, if we did pay that utility fund loan off, that would automatically cut 8,300 that we're no longer having to spend. So to Mr. Manival's point, I think just from a, make sure we're all on the same page here, if we don't discuss that, like if the motion that's on the table, we agree to it today, what does that look like when it comes time to paying that off with surplus money? Would that just be an additional 8,300 that's cut, or would that be 8,300 less of the road maintenance fund cut? Or would we get to decide that?
We would essentially be cutting 8,300 from the operating budget for fiscal year '26. So there would not be a transfer, a minor transfer from general fund to utility fund next year. We would go ahead and do that in the upcoming. We'd close the fiscal year out with a big transfer. So it would be paid off.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we could talk about it next week, or Anyway, a preview of next week.
Mr. Harper?
I just want to make sure that I'm clear, that $8,300, if we paid that loan, which was $300,000 out of the surplus, that would take away the $8,300 for 1 year, correct?
350. Well, that would eliminate.
350 what,
That would
yeah.
eliminate the complete, that's the balance that we owe the utility fund, the general fund, owns the utility fund.
Okay, so that, if we did that, but that would eliminate going forward, the need for that line item going forward?
Correct.
Okay. Then I want to amend my motion to drop the budget $192,300.
Okay, do I have a second for this motion that would amend the motion to bring the budget down by $192,300? Do I have a second for that? Again, just.
Can I just get more of an explanation before I decide if I want a second?
So-
I just want to be clear before I make
Let me, I guess let me explain what I'm asking for. So Rick said that he's interested in eliminating the $8,300 and paying off the utility loan with the surplus. And I'm saying if that's something we're planning on doing, that we can eliminate now $192,300 from the budget, and then next week during our discussion, we can choose to pay off that utility loan, and that money is gone, so.
Okay, so does everybody understand what the motion is?
Yes, I was
Yes.
just going to ask what interest rate are we paying ourselves?
Okay, well, hold on, just so we're clear, I want to make sure we get a second on the motion, then we can open discussion for
second.
this. Okay, so Ms. Chin seconds it. Okay, now discussion. Mr. Hatley?
Yeah, general question, what interest are we paying?
It's a great brother-in-law loan of 0%.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that people understand that by eliminating that $350,000, we'd also eliminate, or not eliminate, but reduce the possibility of having to raise rates in the future. Even though it's a 0% interest loan to the city, it's a potential reduction, or not a reduction, but a steadfast hold of the rates for utilities so that they don't go up. So,
Correct. It would help, anytime we have access to that cash, we can help, for example, it may be able to, and I'm not sure what the impact would be, but it would help. Anytime we've got money to use for projects that we don't have to raise the rates.
Okay. Ms. Huffman, did you want to speak?
Does it matter that it's, your motion's not clarifying that it's the 184, it's 184 road plus the other amount? Does it matter that it's not clarified how the money is being reduced from the budget?
I thought I said it, but I'll make it clear. It's 184 from the road fund and 8350 from the utility fund, or 8300 from the utility. Okay. Make it so.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to reread that before we vote, so I'd like some clarity too. Okay, any other, just any other discussion on the amendment to Mr. Harper's original motion? Okay, seeing none, we'll vote. This would be an amendment to the motion that would cut the budget by essentially 8,300 more, and then when we transfer the 350 loan payment, that would make up that $8,300 difference. Did y'all like that super academic way that I explained that? Okay, any other questions? We can vote. This is just voting on the amendment to the motion. All right, the motion passes 7-0. So now we're back to discussion on the original motion as amended.
And since we just took an electronic vote, this one will have to be a hand vote.
Yeah. Okay. Any further discussion on the motion as amended that's open to us right now? Oh, Mr. Kelly.
You don't, I get it. You don't have,
Mr.
you don't have
Kelly.
a script in front of you to read off of. Yeah, I'll just say I appreciate city staff doing what they've done in order to get the budget in the position that we can do this. It's real easy to go through the budget and try and find 3,000 here, 5,000, 8,000, and there's a lot of ways to get there, but sometimes just going after the bigger items it's the easiest way to do it. It's the least impactful on the rest of staff because it gives staff what has been asked for and what's been presented. So thank you for that. As far as Councilwoman Huffman's comments, I agree that I'm not a fan of cutting, necessarily taking out of the roads the way we're doing it, but we're still providing almost a 20% lift in road funding next year over what we did last year or this current year, which helps keep us on a positive budget trajectory and allows us to keep maintaining that velocity in coming years. So while I would like it to be more, I think based on where we are today, I think based on the desire to get to the voter approved rate, I think this is the most appropriate way to go about it as it relates specifically to the budget.
Thank you. Any other council members?
I was going to say, I want to thank the staff too for going in and finding this extra money. I know it was a lot of work, and I know we put a lot of pressure on you and sent you a lot of questions. I think I've actually sent you guys more questions than I did on my regular day job, and I don't. But I appreciate all the work that all the staff did on this. I really do. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion before we vote? Okay, seeing none, we'll vote. This is a motion as amended that would reduce the budget to the city by, and am I correct? Do you have the actual number that we need to say, or is it more of just the 184 minus whatever the actual dollar amount that we would save from the utility fund loan payment?
I think, yeah, it's close enough. I've got 184,000 plus the 8,300.
Okay, 192.
300.
300? Okay. 192, $308? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Manival. Okay, so this is the vote on the motion to reduce the budget by $192,308. All those in favor of this motion, please indicate by raising your hand. 7. All those opposed? The motion passes 7-0. Any other motions for the discussion, consideration, and any action necessary for the proposed budget? Okay, seeing none. Next item, please, Ms. Vicky. Next agenda item.
Next will be agenda item 6C, discussion regarding the use of specific use permits.
Okay, Mr. Kelly.
Yes, sir. I was just about to hand it to you, but you hand it to me, back to you.
Yeah.
Mr. Kelly.
Well, somebody take it.
Just juggling the microphone there. So, Ryan, first off, thank you for your presentation on SUPs, especially with some of the newer members on council. The information is very, very beneficial, and it's not a tool that gets used often in our town, but it is an important tool to be able to help us manage development. I wanted to put this on the agenda because of not my concern, concerns, just noticing that we've got a couple of business types coming in, a particular business type coming in that it's specifically the automated car washes. But I would think car washes in general are currently a by right use. And it's not that I have an issue with car washes in general. I think they're great. It's a lot better than me having to get out in the driveway and do the work. But the concern I have with it, and my ask is going to be for the staff to go back and think about this and bring something back. But the car washes in particular is a building that is a very specific function. It, when built, can only be used as a car wash. In order to repurpose it, it would, the building would have to be taken down and completely rebuilt. Once it's that's all it is. Again, I don't have a problem with the function, but I start having concerns when we get too many of them. that it starts influencing the marketplace. And I just have concern if we end up with 4, 5, 6, 7 in town, we're going to end up with 3 or 4 buildings in town that are not going to be able to be easily repurposed. As we look at construction that goes on in normal commercial or retail type developments, they're box buildings, they're unique buildings, whether it's a fresh grocery store, whether it's something in the outlier buildings there, whether it's one of the daycare facilities. They're facilities that can be repurposed easily for other functions. These car washes in particular and gas stations are a good example of another SUP use that we have to do that's a specific use, and we've got limits on what we do with that. So my ask is going to be to have staff go back and consider building functionality as it's built and how we can use the SUP process to better manage in that space and take away really those singular use facilities from a by right status to a SUP status. So I hope that makes sense.
Thoughts from council? Mr. Harper.
Yeah, I obviously seconded this motion for Mr. Kelly, and I agree. We already have several in motion now, but as discussed, those buildings are definitely a one-time use, and I've seen in past cities where they deteriorate, sit empty for quite some period of time before somebody's willing to buy and demolish the building, so.
Mr. Hatley.
I agree 100%. I mean, there's certain types of businesses, if they go out of business, I mean, that building is pretty much useless. So, I mean, and 2 of them could we'll put another one out of business in 5 minutes. So, but no, I was just going to state that I very much agree.
Okay. Ms. Chin.
Are we able to do the same thing for donut shops and daycares that don't bring in tax money? Because I think that would be kind of beneficial. Don't know how y'all can finagle that, but no. The city attorney is saying no, so. Okay, well, I have nothing. I like the idea, though. Thanks.
Mr. Kelly?
I'm gonna go ahead then, based on the conversation, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we direct staff to go back and go back with the direction to expand businesses that require SUPs to expand it based on building functionality and the ability to repurpose.
Mr. Hatley?
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, we can begin voting, please. This would be for a motion to direct city staff to go and create the specific use permits as we've discussed here today. The motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Ms. Vicky, what's next?
Next will be Agenda Item 7, Mayor, Council, and City Manager reports.
All right, Ms. Chin, we'll start with you.
Thank you, city staff, for providing all the guidance throughout this whole process. It's been fun, sort of. Thank you to Jason Eddington for your comments today. It's been nice getting to know you and sit down with you and just give our thoughts on, how we can be better represented by the state legislator, and empowering local control is something that we all feel very passionately about. So if y'all have not met with him, I encourage you to do so. There was an incident that happened this weekend at Rockwall Heath High School, and it was awful and inherently racist. And so I just think that we all need to be praying for our city leaders, for the citizens, for the kids that go to school every day in Rockwall ISD that may have been impacted by such a hateful display. But that's all I have. Thank you all.
Mr. Harper?
Got to turn that on. Yes, I want to thank the city staff again. I know that they've been jumping through a lot of hoops and using a lot of pencil lead, and I appreciate all that and the questions, and also appreciate those who came and spoke for or against the taxes, as well as the gentleman who spoke on behalf of the parks. Hopefully That money that we gave will help get the parks back into order and at least get the disc golf back up and going. Hopefully for that amount of money, we can get disc golf again. And I'm glad to see that the kids are back in school. It seems like some of the traffic patterns are not very, very exciting, but that'll all get worked out after the first few weeks of school, I'm sure. Thanks.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, so it's been an interesting week where lots of things give folks the opportunity to say lots of things and lots of, just lots of weirdness with council in the last week. But every once in a while an event happens that, in my mind, is so horrific and vile that it should recenter our focus on doing the right things. And specifically the incident at Heath overnight. It's a ridiculous incident. Whoever did it, I mean, yes, you have your opportunity for freedom of speech, but I pray our community rallies against any likewise sentiment that supports that. I know those are symbols that have popped up in our community over various times over the last few years. Typically, it's when I see that stuff, I think of somebody that's very either juvenile, ill-informed, or ignorant. And I just pray that our community is better than that, is beyond that, and can rally to show really who we are, who our heart is, and the type of people we are.
Mr. Manival?
Yes, I wanted to thank the city manager and the staff who have done their best to work us towards a tax rate that is lower than what was originally proposed, and which several of us here were hoping we could accomplish. And I want to thank the city manager for all the answers. I sent several questions in one email, and I won't share his reply, but he shows good humor when faced with these questions. So yes, he's a good guy. He's funny. Thank you.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
it.
Manival. Mr. Hatley?
I too want to thank the city staff for putting up with, I know it's not just my questions. I mean, we don't know who sends them, but we see questions and answers, and I know I think I've been harder on you guys than I have been on everybody at work. And this has been a back to school week and a new program, so that's probably saying something. But I do also want to send prayers out to everybody in Heath. What we saw there, it should never happen. It shouldn't happen anywhere. I like to consider Rockwall County a very special place, and to me that just it soils it. We're better than that, and hopefully they find the people responsible, and they're held accountable for that horrible action, and hopefully nothing. It sickens me. I don't know. It really does, but we'll just say our prayers are with them. But I also wanted to thank everybody who gave their opinion tonight on the taxes, on parks. Regarding parks, I'd just like to, hopefully we appreciate the parks, and when they're torn up, if you see somebody abusing those parks, those are all of our parks. Those are for the kids. They're for everybody, and utilize them with care. If you see somebody abusing them, report them on that. And I appreciate Mr. Strobel asking, us to take care of that. But thank you very much. But I also wanted to, he's not going to, Mr. Chief Lombard, happy birthday, sir. I wanted to say that, and thank you to the DPS as always. But again, thanks to all of those who bring opinions, even though we agree with them or don't agree with them. I definitely want to hear them. They're very, very important, and we live in a country that lets us do that. Thank you.
Ms. Huffman?
All right. Well, once again, I really appreciate the effort that the staff is going through. We're heading in the right direction with the budget. I love it when we reduce expenses, but I know it takes some effort to conceptualize what we can do without. So thank you for that. I also love getting input from people on their feeling about anything we're deciding on, so are an important issue. As far as the parks, I'm sort of holding myself accountable now, but I'm at that park probably 4 mornings a week. And so we've started looking at the disc golf course, and I thought, oh yeah, some of those things need to be shoveled out and cleaned up a little bit. So I will keep my eye on the park and give you feedback as I can, but it does need a little bit of attention. And my final thought was, yes, happy birthday, Chief.
I think it's great working, obviously, and we've seen it. We had a comment tonight about the plethora of opinions on social media about the budget and where do we go from here. And I think it's wonderful that our city staff has worked with us. All sorts of questions get kind of funneled into kind of this final analysis, and to present it in such a way where we have agreement among the council members, I think is wonderful to move in this direction. First time since when did you say that we're at the voter approval rate?
I don't think we've ever used it.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm wanting you to say, when was the last time? So,
Whenever they came up with it, we've never
Yeah,
used
first
it since they
time.
came up with it.
first time. So, anyway, I think that's an incredible opportunity that we've been given here, and I think that it definitely shows the council's commitment to doing what's right by the people. So thank you to my fellow council members for that. I know it can get heated sometimes, but I do appreciate that everybody brings their thoughts to the table for that. Yes, Mr. Eddington, thank you for joining us, but I also want to point out we do have Senator Hall's district director here, Mr. John Vick. So if you have any questions, please be sure to give him a handshake. He'll talk to you for a long time, and so I might even ask him a question after this. So he's a good guy to know. You'll enjoy whatever answer he gives you to a question you may have. Thank you very much, Mr. Kovacs.
Yes, sir. I'll start with a happy birthday, Chief. We'll save you from, we won't sing to you. You're chief, you know. But happy birthday, sir. And lots of ribbon cuttings coming up. Look at your calendar. You probably all seen all the different ribbon cuttings. Even I think Whataburger this week on Wednesday. Fantastic. Thursday? Wait. Wednesday night ribbon cutting. Thursday, thank you. Thursday grand opening. Yeah, don't show up Wednesday and expect a burger. The revised and rebuilt Capital Impact Advisory Committee, or the CIAC as we call it, is meeting on Monday the 25th at 6 p.m. Y'all put some citizens on there that meet the new state law requirements, so they are getting together. And then we have a ZBA probably?
ZBA will be September 4th. It's a
September 4th.
Thursday.
So the ZBA, who doesn't see action very much, is getting together on the 4th. That's it for tonight, sir.
Okay, thank you. What's our next item on the agenda, please?
Next will be Agenda Item 8, Executive Session, Closed Meeting to discuss, A, in accordance with Texas Government Code Section 551.074, to discuss or deliberate regarding personnel matters, City Manager.
All right, thank you very much. What's our next item on the agenda, please?
Okay, we will now take action on agenda item 8A1.
I would like to make a motion to approve the amendments to the city manager's contract and to authorize the mayor to execute the amended agreement.
I second.
Okay, there has been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, please vote. The motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, what's our next item, please?
Next will be agenda item 10, adjournment.
Yay.
Good motion.
All
We
right.
adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. No discussion. Please vote. I'm not letting you. Motion passes 7-0. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
17. That's why I was